Well, hello, this is Christopher James, and this week I had an interesting guest show up at the Showboat Branson Bell. His name is James Megellas, and James was in Branson to celebrate the holiday, Thanksgiving, with his family, but I also learned he's around this area and they're getting ready to celebrate his 100th birthday. Not only that, because you know we get a lot of birthdays here in Branson, but he is the most decorated officer in the 82nd Airborne ever. Okay, and James is going to talk about that a little bit. I asked him to sit down and talk with me during the show, so it's a little loud, but he was just so interesting. He has a book that came out called All the Way to Berlin, and you can find it on Amazon, and it sounds like an amazing book because, you know, he was there. So it's All the Way to Berlin by James Megellas, Megellas. And we had a few minutes to sit down and talk about his life and some amazing things. It's not often I get to talk to somebody that has a post office named after them. So I hope you enjoy this quick interview with a very, very interesting veteran that was nice enough to give me some of his time. Enjoy our conversation. Bye-bye.
Master General sent out invitations. There was a big event. 82nd Airborne Division troopers came, put on a jump and a demonstration. It was a big civic day. They named the post office after James Megellas.
Yeah. Now, what city is that in?
Fond du Lac, Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Is that where you grew up?
That's where I grew up. That's where I entered service and where I went to college and where I went to high school.
So how old were you when you enlisted? Or were you drafted?
Well, no. I graduated from college with a commission. I was a second lieutenant and I went to service.
Yeah. And so you had your book come out. How long ago did you write your book, All the Way to Berlin?
Oh, I don't know. I started writing it when I was 80 years old.
A new project when you were 80-some years old?
That's when I started writing it.
So you were telling me that you went over to Afghanistan when you were 90, right?
Well, I went 3 times. The last time I went, I was 94 years old. And I went by myself from Dallas.
How did you set that up? Who set it up for you?
Well, I had sponsors. Yeah. American Airlines flew me to Holland. And in Holland, the Royal Dutch Air Force flew me into Kabul. In Kabul, CIA picked me up, our CIA, and flew me down to the Pakistani border where our troops were lined up. And I spent my time with them. Yeah,
and you said you signed 5,000 books? Is that what you said?
3 times I went, I signed 5,000 books.
That's a lot of signatures. So that's a lot.
But the thing about it is, I take credit for it, but the publisher donated them. And not only that, but he shipped them out there. And not just shipped them there, but shipped them to Kabul, to all the places where I went. Yeah. The books were there waiting for me. And then the troops all lined up and came through, and I shook hands with them.
So what exactly is your book about? It's called All the Way to Berlin.
Well, it's my service. From the day I entered service till the end of the war.
How old were you?
Well, I was 25 when I entered service.
Oh, really? Okay. And how long did you serve?
Wait a minute. I served all through the war. In the victory parade, and then I stayed in the reserves. So I completed over 20 years.
20 years?
Well, all together.
And I see you're the most decorated officer in the 82nd Airborne.
In the history of the 82nd.
In the history of it.
Yeah.
What are some of the awards that you received, the medals, the recognition?
Well, I got the Distinguished Service Cross. I got 2 Silver Stars. I got 2 Purple Hearts, I got 2 Bronze Stars, I got 3 presidential citations, I got foreign decorations all over the place. I got every award that they can give you, I got it.
Everyone. That's incredible. But you're here in Branson, and you said your 100th birthday is in March? Is that what you said?
March 11th,
March 11th, you're out here with your family. Celebrating for the Thanksgiving and stuff.
We're for Thanksgiving dinner, yes.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're pretty active. Do you still go out and talk about the book? Do you make appearances?
Let me put it this way. You know, they made a movie, Last Man Standing. Well, in my family, there were 9 of us. I'm the last one. In my unit that I fought with, I'm the last one. in my college group, I'm the last one. You know, I'm the last man standing at 100
You
years
are.
old. They're all dead. So here I am.
Well, there you go.
You say I'm still
Well, hello,
active.
this is Christopher James, and this week I had an interesting guest show up at the Showboat Branson Bell. His name is James Megellas, and James was in Branson to celebrate the holiday Thanksgiving with his family, but I also learned he's around this area and they're getting ready to celebrate his 100th birthday. Not only that, because you know we get a lot of birthdays here in Branson, but he is the most decorated officer in the 82nd Airborne ever. Okay, and James is going to talk about that a little bit. I asked him to sit down and talk with me during the show, so it's a little loud, but he was just so interesting. He has a book that came out called All the Way to Berlin, and you can find it on Amazon, and it sounds like an amazing book because, you know, he was there. So it's All the Way to Berlin by James Megellas, M-E-G-E-L-L-A-S. And we had a few minutes to sit down and talk about his life and some amazing things. It's not often I get to talk to somebody that has a post office named after them. So I hope you enjoy this quick interview with a very, very interesting veteran that was nice enough to give me some of his time.
Yeah, not done.
I
Enjoy our conversation.
said, well, how else can you say it?
Yeah.
I mean, we live at the willing of our Lord, don't we?
Right.
I mean, He brought us into being, and even on Thanksgiving, we give thanks to the Lord for His many blessings. And I remember that, and I recognize that. And I don't say, well, you know, my mother made good soup, or my wife's a good cook. Yeah, all that.
Uh-huh.
But why is everybody else dead? They ate the same soup.
I guess that's true.
Well, I mean, you know, I'm joking about it, but you asked me a question,
Yeah.
and it's a good question. Why are you 100 years old? And why can you travel here? Where's the other guys? There's nobody else here.
Yeah.
And last year they had the 70th anniversary of the Wall River crossing in a battle I fought in Holland. The Royal Dutch flew me out there. The Queen flew me out there, and they brought me across that river again, all alone, in the big ceremony, liberating Holland. I was the only guy
Yeah.
that
you're
was
the last
still alive.
one.
Yeah, that crossed that river.
That must have been quite a ceremony, though. I'm sure they really went all
it was
well.
a big parade, and man, the whole show was lined up here. It was all on TV, and they had out there, and they had the 82nd Airborne Division was paddling me, and I was there. And we got on the other side where we landed when we made the initial invasion. The other side of the river, when we got there, there was a company, a rifle company of my unit that was there waiting. And when I got there, we hoisted the American flag. This was in Holland. We hoisted the American flag, and we sang our song. I shook hands with every one of the soldiers there. It was history. That's history.
Yeah.
That people who were there will never forget that, because you know how often you're going to see then I was 98 years old, crossing a Wall River as they did in a battle.
You're right.
I mean, that's something. It's like coming here for dinner in the movie.
Yeah.
It's history.
It is. And you're part of history. I think it's amazing. And I'm going to tell everybody to look up your book here. I'm sure they can find it online on some of the bookstores.
Sure, yeah.
All the Way to Berlin. I'll even try to put a link on there so people can
Yeah, it's All the
check it
Way
out.
to Berlin. And Amazon has it. And I have them too at home.
Yeah.
And in fact, my wife has several in the car, but for people who ask me.
Well, I'm going
about
to check
them,
it out myself.
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, you can check all that.
We'll do that. Well, thank you very much for talking with me. And I'll let you get back to your family here at the Showboat and have a good time. But thank you very much. It was nice talking to you, James.
Okay,
It was really a
Christopher.
pleasure.
Well, there you go. What a fun, impromptu interview with James. I had such a great time talking with him. You could not have met a nicer guy. He was all smiles and having a great time. 100-year celebration coming up. And he said that he comes to Branson every year, he told me. So I can't wait to see him on 101. And and hear how everything's going, see what his next adventure is. Be sure to check out his book, All the Way to Berlin. Look him up, James Megellas, Megellas. We'll try to put the link down below, so be sure to check that out. As always, thank you for listening to us. Stay in touch, support us. We do all of these for free. We never charge anybody to be a guest on our podcast or any of our interviews. We just find interesting people to talk to that have a story to tell. I'm Christopher James. Thank you very much.